Okay, so
Is
I
everybody,
believe that, did you just start recording, Mark?
Yes.
Awesome, thank you. A little added pressure. Okay, Chip, the floor is yours at 6 o'clock.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. We've completed our audit for September 30th, 2020. You should have all received the documents mailed to you, so you should have the physical copies. I am going to share my screen, and so hopefully you can read it if you don't have a copy. Does everybody have a copy?
I only, unless you mailed them, I emailed them.
Oh, you emailed them. Okay, all right.
Yes.
So I'm going to share my screen and I'll go through the basic financial statements just for the sake of ease. I'm not going to go over the letters. I'm not going to share the letters. The majority of what's in the letters is also in the body of the report. So I'll just go through the actual financial statements. And here we go right here. Okay, so these are the basic financial statements for 2020. I'm going to move you to page 1 and 2 of the financial statements, and this is our independent auditors report. You will see about 2/3 of the page down, there's a paragraph labeled basis for qualified opinion. So we do have a qualified opinion on these financials because of really 3 issues. One is the fixed assets of the library. Second is the what's called GASB 75 or your OPEB accrual. And thirdly is what's called GASB 68 or your pension accrual. So those are 3 items that the library doesn't have, and I'll go through the actual reasons why that's required to be in here. It's also in those other 2, the other letter that you have that I'm not going over, but we'll discuss that more in detail as I go through the financial statements. But there is a qualified opinion on the basic financial statements. You'll see the bottom of page 2, we're required to perform our audit in accordance with government auditing standards. That basically requires us to gain an understanding of the library's internal control structure and test those internal controls. And we had no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies on the internal controls of the library. And here is that letter on compliance with government auditing standards. Feel free to interrupt me if you have a question as I go through these. And here you'll see the status of prior year audit findings and recommendations. So this is what I was discussing relative to the qualified opinion. You'll see 3 items here: lack of fixed asset listing, lack of the accrual in accordance with GASB 75, and also the lack of the pension accrual. Pages 8 through 14 are what's called a management discussion and analysis. So this is basically an executive summary of the financial statements. So I won't go through this. I'm going to guide you through the actual financial statements themselves. But this is a requirement for GASB financial statements, and it's really meant to be an overview or a kind of an executive summary of the financial position of the library. So I'll move you to page 15. And here you have the statement of net position. And what's important to note is the library has 3 funds that we break out, and I'll go over those. This is the full accrual. So this combines all your funds. So it combines your capital activity, your special revenue fund, and the library operating fund. And here you'll see total assets of $2,089,066. The majority of that is your capital assets, net of accumulated depreciation. So all the renovations that you've done to the library are encompassed in that number, that $1,107,373. So Majority of the assets are in your capital assets. You do have significant cash on hand, both unrestricted and restricted cash of roughly 861,362. So roughly about 41% of your total assets is in cash. Total liabilities of 163,430. Majority of that is due to the Employee Retirement System, or ERS, leaving you with a total net position of $1,925,636, which is broken out between both the unrestricted of $818,263 and the net investments in capital assets of $1,107,373. Next, we get into the statement of activities. Total governmental activity expenses of $1,143,455, offset by charges for services of $9,230. Operating grants that you received for your capital improvements, $92,505. Further offset by general revenues, which are your real property taxes, any donations, and interest and whatnot, of $1,503,838. You will see in the donations, I'll also show it as we go through the fund statements. Donations is up this year because you received a donation from the estate for this year for capital improvements. On page 17, we get into your actual fund statements. So you'll see the funds broken out between your operating, special revenue, and capital fund. Total assets in the operating fund, $802,248, mainly made up of cash. Total current liabilities of $200,466, which again is mainly due to ERS of $113,502, leaving you in your general operating fund unassigned fund balance of $588,571 and non-spendable fund balance of $13,211. You will see the capital fund broken out there. You'll see total capital fund assets of $172,287. And fund equity in the capital fund of $137,185. So those are amounts that are unspent based on, you'll see on page 18, you'll see the income statement for all your funds. So since I was on the capital fund, you will see the capital fund activity. So what you'll see, total revenues in the capital fund, $90,389. That's state grants that you received. Capital outlay, or amounts that were spent on your renovations, of $163,523. And then you'll see other financing sources of $416,653. That was due to a transfer that you transferred over from your operating fund, an interfund transfer of I think roughly $366,653 that was transferred, and then you transfer every year $50,000 that's appropriated out of your budget over. So that's what makes up the $416,653. Leaving you in your capital fund a positive fund equity of $137,185, which is good because you started off with a deficit of $206,334. And then to move left in your general operating, you'll see total revenues in your general operating of $1,514,704, total expenditures of $1,050,260. And then that interfund transfer over to the capital fund, $416,653, leaving you a total fund equity of $601,782. Any questions on either one of these financials?
Nope.
On page 20, it shows you a reconciliation between, if you noticed, I went through really two sets of financials. I went through your full accrual and also your fund statements. And this is a reconciliation between the two. It's required by the GASB. Pages 21 through 27 are required note disclosures. I won't go through all the note disclosures. They're required for GAAP financial statements, but I will move you to page 28. And 28 is your budget to actual statement for your operating fund. So you'll see a total amended budget for revenues of $1,569,153. Your actual revenues received were $1,514,704. And then total expenditures budgeted of $1,569,153, and total expenditures came in at $1,466,913. So expenditures came in slightly under what you had budgeted. But both are pretty tight for a library. So both tight on the revenues and tight on the expenditures, which is what you're seeing with a lot of governments. And then I can rotate it, but you'll see a required schedule here of your capital project expenditures, showing your total expenditures this year of $163,523. In the very right-hand column there, you'll see the fund balance at the end of the year of $137,185. Any questions on this schedule? Okay, well, that's pretty much your financial statements. The other two letters are required letters. One is required communication. If there is any difficulties or any unadjusted balances, we would note those in that letter. And then the other letter is a required letter for any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses, which I just went over in the body of these financial statements, those gap departures on the material weaknesses. So other than that, I'll open it up for any questions that you may have on any of the letters or the financial statements. That's usually the response I get from the financial statement. Well, one thing I would like to say, I'd like to thank April and Char for all their efforts in putting the information together so we could do the audit. It is an odd year, as everybody knows, with the pandemic. But we were able to get everything to perform the audit and get the audit done.
Good.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for all your work.
Okay, so we can let Chip go and enjoy his evening, or is there any questions?
No.
Yeah, we were silent, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you,
Very good.
Chip.
Pretty
Thank
clear.
you.
We're gonna approve your check tonight, so
Thanks.
show you the money. Okay, thanks a lot.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have any other public present at the meeting?
We do not. It's just library staff and library board.
Okay. Is Sally here?
She is. I see her name
I
is
see her
written.
name.
She popped in
Oh,
while
okay.
the audit report was going on,
But she is
just after
muted.
Scott did. So
The minutes from last meeting?
I'll approve the minutes from last meeting.
Pat, did you move to approve them?
Yes.
Yes,
she did.
she did. Can
Okay,
somebody
I'm sorry.
second?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear. And did somebody second?
No one
I
seconded.
have not seconded yet, so I will do that now.
Okay, Scott has seconded.
All right. And the minutes of the last meeting are approved. And now we have president's report. I just have a couple questions. Is the library open?
The library is open for grab and go and 15 minute basically like grab and go and whatever that might mean. That's if it's a notary, if it's scan, effects, use the computer, whatever. And we will be in the month of April. We believe we're going to start some preschool programming. Kim Rudwall has said she would like to do that. So I'm excited because we were going to hire somebody to do that. And so we're just going to hire another part-time library assistant to fill in where she can't be. It's like the business office stuff, she's
Right.
working on the checks. It's just a kind of a shift of a lot of people's duties, but we know obviously that's at least a part-time position. And so we have someone who has applied, who works with us already. So I'm excited.
Good.
So that's
I just heard that library workers can get the vaccine. So
as of
Good.
March 17th, some of us kind of took advantage of the fact that, I don't know if it's advantage, but we're a local government. We
Right.
also are kind of, because of our affiliation with the school district, some of us
Yep.
went ahead with the educator connection.
good.
And so we
That's
do
good.
have some people fully vaccinated, but there are people obviously have, and Lisa Matt kind of worked on something. There was a pop-up that included libraries as education last weekend, and I know Rosemary jumped on that. And so we do have some people.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
probably
good.
not
That's
supposed to mention
Good
names,
to
sorry.
know, because people will feel a lot more comfortable.
And both
they've had the
ways,
vaccine.
staff
Yep.
and patrons, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Good.
I'm excited, and and we're going to basically again open certain things with restrictions, as that's kind of, we are open with restrictions. We will open programming. Obviously, we've been doing virtual, but we'll open in-house programming we'll make reservations, and we'll say, okay,
Right.
4 families can come in on Monday, 4 families can come in on Wednesday, 4 families can come in on Friday. I said, Kim, just do the same lesson. Do it for
Yeah.
6 weeks, and then it'll get us into the summer season. And maybe we'll do picnic blankets outside or something.
Yeah.
So we're exploring. I know Shar used to do messy kid art and things like that. So maybe that'll be okay. We'll set up 4 tables in the community room. Once they're full, then the rest is, maybe Facebook virtual. So we might continue with this make and take kind of deal. So somebody can pick up their stuff. And if you have you got the golden ticket and you can be here live at the library, then that's great. And if not, it'll be like our live studio audience, and we'll make a little bit of a recording. This is how you do your craft. Those of you at home or the people in the community room itself, that sort of thing. So we're moving along, and we have a reopening committee with Mid-York. So we'll probably talk about that tomorrow a little bit.
Good.
So.
Okay. Financial report. We have expenditure and revenues reports for January.
Do you want to start with January? Or do you want to start with last? fiscal
I
year?
also have, we should have had, I see,
What?
we've got both. I should have also written down that we have finalized reports from September 2020. Sorry about that.
That's not, yeah, you got expenditure and
Susanna,
revenue
because
for
We
January.
need to add that. We need a D probably for that.
Okay. Well, what are we starting with?
Well, why don't you go ahead with A for January? So that's, I think, they all came in one document. So
Yes, and that'll be page 5 for me.
Okay, so there isn't there's no action needed besides approval.
Not for
There's no
January.
transfer of anything for this particular one. So that's pretty straightforward.
Okay. So we need a motion to approve.
Correct. Anybody?
Okay.
I will so move.
Okay, Scott, I'll second.
Okay.
And we have the abstract of claims dated February 10th, 2021 to March 9th, 2021.
That's
Do we need
the current one.
All right.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
need approval?
That I
Yeah.
emailed you.
Right.
So that's not part of Shar's thing, sorry. These are all a little haphazard. All right, so that is in the amount of, I think Suzanne, you might have it. $81,000.
$437.47.
That's the one.
Right. Okay, so we need an approval?
Yes.
Okay, I'll move.
Okay, can somebody second?
Okay. I'll second. And next, we have the corrected abstract of claims from January to February.
And if you look at it, I can't tell you if the dollar amount changed, but there's a few things that are in bold. Do you
Yes.
remember the circumstances behind it all, Shar? It's
There
just
were
little things,
some,
right?
there were some missing, bills that we
Okay.
had just kind of misplaced in the whole COVID
Oh,
fiasco.
okay.
And there's a few things, just minor, amounts changed, that kind of a thing, but the overall total did change. I cannot.
Let
tell
me
you
look. I
right
can
now.
actually look it up from the minutes. The
Say
old
no to
one.
both.
But anyway, so that you know, it was 81,495 and now it's $82,064. So it didn't go up a great deal, but it's different. So if we could, you have that, and I guess we do the whole shebang and add the total each time we change it? Or do we just, I should know.
Are you going to mail it to me so I can sign that one?
This one came to you from Shar with the financials.
Yes.
Yes.
So-
attached.
I obviously missed that.
It's okay. She also put this
Okay,
orange
so-
thing up of it.
All right,
And
so I do
she-
have it. I will look for it
Okay.
afterwards. So I
So
do
that
have it.
should, the one that was also dated wrong.
Yes.
Yes, and the dates were fixed too. Yep.
So see, it fixes everything.
Okay, so when I put it in the minutes, I'll just put the new total, correct?
Yes.
I don't need to make a comment on the change?
I would just add the new total.
Okay,
Corrected, just say corrected, and then you could put the new total. You don't have to get into great detail about what was corrected.
okay.
All right, and we need to approve that.
Okay, I'll approve that.
Okay,
Okay,
Pat moved. And can I have somebody second?
I will.
Who's that? Sue?
That was Sue. Okay, then we need to add in the financial report action items, we need a D. Susanna,
Okay.
sorry about that. And that would be
Okay.
the finalized expenditures and revenues for September 2020. And there's a budget transfer
There's a resolution. Yep.
resolution. Thank you. Resolution number 5.
That's separate from the September 2020. That's an item E, correct?
That's probably true. I should know all these things. Sorry.
Okay, all right, so what is that? It's, start again, what's the last item?
Okay, E would be
Yeah.
resolution number 5. And usually it's see as attached, because I will attach this this page to the minutes.
Okay, we need to vote on that too.
Okay, so we need to vote on the adjustments or the final for September 2020.
Okay, I
We
will.
just did.
Oh, you did that? Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, we did that.
Perfect.
No? Oh,
Now the
no,
resolution?
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
Okay.
losing track
No,
of
we
which ones I've got in here. Okay,
yeah, no, we need to do this one.
Right.
I'll move to accept that. And we need a second,
I'll second.
okay? And now we have the resolution, correct?
Correct.
yes,
Okay, so we need a motion to accept the resolution. What did you say, number 5?
Your resolution number 5. I think that's all. I'll read it, but I think for the minutes, because it's see attached.
right, yeah,
And
Right.
but for you
Okay.
guys, so you know what you're approving, it was, we took 2,800 from salaries, and we moved 2,800 to New York State employees retirement.
Okay,
So,
Okay.
so do we need a motion for that?
I
Yeah.
will move
Yeah.
that,
And I'll second.
Okay,
Scott and Pat,
Yeah.
okay? Is that it for the financial report?
I hope so. That was enough.
Yeah, yes.
That was good. All
Okay.
right.
Now we have director's report.
We do. And so we have a fogger, which we've been using at the library, which is good, but also part of that construction, well, no, sorry. Part of that grant that was written by Mid-York Libraries, it was really, I didn't do it. I was just a beneficiary, really. A lot was done with Wanda and Ann DeBragio from Kirkland. And they also, as part of that grant, wrote that we would have lendable foggers. And Dunham was selected as a library to house that fogger that could be rented out to the public. So if you have, I don't know, whatever you might have, a banquet hall, or you have a home business, or if you have a shop in the village, whatever your situation might be, that you could rent it from us for, well, not rent it because there's no money, but you would borrow it from the library. So that is something that we had a meeting about that. Herm met with me, and Dennis and Christine will work on getting that information out to the public. So we got this boilerplate kind of promotional stuff that they're going to be working through. So that should be soon. There are a lot of awesome, I'm just going to scoot through some of these and not mention them, opportunities to learn, and people are putting some things together. It's really interesting. New York Heritage, we are part of New York Heritage with some of our Dunham collection and that kind of thing. And so it was a way to highlight some of the things that were going on. And the Buffalo History Museum they presented some of their stuff. So I went to that, and it just helps you too, to be able to figure out what other people are doing. Envisioning the future of libraries experience. So it had to do with design and thinking about flexibility, and it wasn't necessarily anything crazy new, but just again, making sure that you're ready for change. I know the Public Library was talking about this a little bit before we started our meeting. I know that Sally joined us. I mean, you met with us outside, but Susanna and Sue, we did go inside and we saw the building when it was under construction. So it is open to the public, and one of their board members is giving tours. So if anybody's interested, they're open, reduced hours with restrictions, that sort of thing. So you could also go there, just pop in there. You don't have to have a reservation, and just look around. Most things are pretty open. In order to see the back rooms and where the furnace is and things like that, you'd need a tour, but the building itself is there. Drawing across color lines with kids. I think that might be children. I went to a couple different things, and I know Grace Lynn was from New Hartford, and so she's an illustrator, and she spoke, and there were two others, and how, they didn't see people of color in books when they were growing up either. So again, I like to keep it in the back of my mind to make sure our collection development reflects those types of things. DPL has curbside service and is open 15 minutes, grab and go. We've talked about this. We have building access. We did that March 1st. And the reason why we waited till March 1st is we had quite a few people that had that second shot going through that. We wanted to make sure that if anybody was not feeling well, if we were going to be short-staffed, that sort of thing. So we did, people did really well that I don't think people, no one missed work anyway. The library master plan design and review. I did meet with Julia. Mark was on the call just to kind of go over what she had come up with. And we'll talk about it later maybe, but March 23rd is a good day for her. So maybe I'll send an email and she can go over some of the drawings that she showed me, the preliminary things that the staff we had that one meeting that a lot of people contributed what they thought, and we also had board members that contributed what they thought should the future of the library should look like. So she did put some things together that even I was kind of surprised about. It was kind of neat. And then bring your own book club that continues. That'll be tomorrow night if anybody's interested. It's going well. I think it's kind of fun because it's the no guilt book club. You just tell us what you're reading, and it's kind of an opportunity to say I'm reading good stuff. And they're detecting background noise. I'm gonna get rid of that X. So we are continuing that. Kim's involved with that too. Let's see. Don't panic, how to virtualize professional development. That's it. And again, we're doing it. So it's coming. Nonprofit strategies. This was a community foundation and what's going on and how they're restructuring and being quite inclusive. It's very much a focus to make sure that we are including everyone in what we do and making sure that they're putting their money towards that goal for the most part. And so if you want to do something, that's what we're doing. We want to make sure that lead isn't in our soil, just making sure that all members of our community have a better existence, making sure that everybody's included in what we're doing. And Literacy Coalition, I like to stay connected with that. That's the same one where, people are struggling, a lot of educators, preschool educators, what's going on. So I do like to attend that one. And then as always, the directors meeting, we do have a DAC meeting coming up, but what's today? It might be a DAC meeting tomorrow. I think it is. So we meet 6 times a year as DAC. So it's a little bit more formal. And then we have an informal meeting every Wednesday that I go to, that we just try to figure out what we're doing, how are we opening. It's just all kinds of different things that we struggle to figure out what we're doing. And it's nice. Let's see. Mental health, emotional health. It's a lot of it is, it's a stressful time, right? And it's not that people are necessarily depressed, but there's a lot of things have come to the surface, right? A lot of things, the unrest in our communities, our nation, our world. There's a lot going on. So people aren't necessarily clinically depressed, but there is this, there's a sadness. There's a sadness going on, and so
and there's exhaustion. Everybody's exhausted
It's
with
just
carrying on and this rule today and a different rule tomorrow, and
yeah,
and the irritability that goes along with being exhausted. People,
there you go.
People's, in the beginning of the pandemic, everybody was, very kind and patient. Not so much now.
no, enough
I'm
already,
just so
right?
tired of it, but we have to stay diligent. Just a little while longer, right? That kind of thing.
We can make it to May. That's
there you go. Let's make it to May. Allison does tell me though that she said it's really, the hospital is coming around. There's still that 5th floor there's still, there are still people, but it's at least they have when people get sick, there's treatment, there's enough people, there's plasma, there's hope, that kind of thing. So there are still people sick, but it's not quite as devastating as it was before, but still exhausting. Now, and then I went to Marion Buttonchone's town hall, and then not too long after, so that was good. And just to know what's happening in Albany and locally. And then I've been attending the youth services virtual meetings just because we're all, Kim and Christina, they're just new to this. And so I kind of want to be in on it. We're trying to figure out summer reading. What does it look like? We're talking about maybe creating video snippets that some of us will do things and some people are kind of getting good at this video stuff and they're willing to edit, and we're going to try to figure this out a little bit. What does it look like? And well, there's going to be a lot of virtual still. We're sick of it, but you know, it adds accessibility to some, because not everybody, I mean, some people are working 9 to 5, and you know, grandma doesn't necessarily have a car that she can put all of her grandchildren in, or whatever the deal is, and they attend later. You know, there are people that can attend at a different hour of the day or different day of the week, or than works for us. So as much as it's annoying, it's helped us to figure out that these virtual things or the curbside, it's helping people to use the library. So we're doing that still, and we will continue to do that. All right. Multi-district. So again, Rotary, everything's virtual. So I did attend a Young People Speak Rotary meeting, and that was good. It was people saying, you know, we can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. We have to make it include our families. How is it that we can have a meeting? It was interesting because, okay, you're having a Rotary meeting and they want to have maybe childcare on the side. That's kind of an interesting idea. I mean, not that we're going to offer childcare all the time, but maybe we might offer a book club for adults that has a childcare component, or, you know, just even though it wasn't a library thing. Again, I think it's important to be a part of some community organization, and Rotary is the one I chose. Central Library Resources Council, I did go to, that was the board meeting. So that I did go to that, and that was pretty much a basic board meeting. It wasn't anything crazy. And then, sustainable development. You know, I should have written down what that meant. And NILA Ledge Day. So that was a year ago at this time. We were in Albany just before, you know, everybody shut down for COVID. And we had a virtual, you know, this time. So it was interesting it was exhausting. It was kind of like this, but it was all day long. And you knew that it was being recorded and people were watching. And so you felt like you were getting your picture taken, like, oh, because you had to, you know, that sort of thing. But there were aides that were in the room. People were discussing, like, well, if this the stimulus package is passed, what does that mean to libraries? What are we going to do? There's going to be this flood of money. Do we do it all this year? Does some of it come into next year? There would be money possibly at the federal level for construction projects of libraries. So there's a lot of that happening. What it's going through people's minds, and of course nobody really knows anything until the budget passes. But we gave our 2 cents, and we, you know, said that we were here to help, and they love us because nobody else asks if we can help. You know, he said, you know, everybody just wants, and libraries, they say thank you, and they want to know how they can help. It's like, yeah. So, you know, it's a conversation. It's a conversation with people, and just to remember, because sometimes our budgets are so small at the state level, I think they forget us. So I thought it went well. You know, it's a Zoom meeting or whatever, and we met, and you know, libraries are awesome. We get together with academic libraries, law libraries, public, school, academic. We're all there. We're all there at the table saying, you know, it takes all of us to do this. So I was quite proud of that participation. I thought it went well. So I think this concludes my director's report. If anybody has any questions, good stuff going on. Definitely.
Do we have any old business?
It's hard to say. Was some of this old, like the budget? I probably should have put the budget in old, but I don't think it matters.
That's all right. Do we have any other things in old business? No? New business, we've got the audit report. We already did that, right?
Yep, we did.
We have approval of the 2020-2021 budget.
Like we presented it last time.
Mhm.
We did make a change, and I think we sent it to you as small. And it was, we received the audit report after we created that draft budget.
Right.
So it's the same amount overall. And we looked at it and said, you know what, it's almost difficult for us to spend the oh, what difficult. We could really go crazy. It's the library programming, it's the ordering of books and supplies and crafts and all those things. But $100,000 is enough, really.
Yeah.
And we were at 107, I believe the budget was. Char, feel free to pipe in whenever. But when we looked at it, we really needed like that 3,500 in retirement and 3,500 in help me, health, correct? So that's where we changed that. So the budget, if you were, we send it to you, but that's the change that we made.
And that makes sense because
Yeah, from
that,
109 to
yeah.
100,000.
Right.
Okay, and it's another thing is too, when we get to the annual report, I wanted to highlight our holdings have gone up. It's either electronic, and we're buying that with the whole Mid-York system, and electronic resources are what people are really looking for. And because we're able to buy them in bulk and they don't deteriorate, right? I
Right.
mean, nobody's losing them,
No
the dog's
upkeep.
not chewing them, all that. They're not
Yeah.
having to be printed. So we're able to get more bang for our buck too.
sure.
So that's why. Okay, so yes, please approve. I suppose we probably approve the audit, right?
Yeah.
I think we do that too. So we would probably have to formally approve the audit, even though it just happened and, it's not immediate. And then we'll need to formally approve all of
Well,
it.
that would be the first step before
Yeah.
Chip's check can get approved, I would assume.
Yes, that would be nice of us, right?
Yeah.
So you guys carry on with that.
Okay.
Are you approving, Scott?
Yes, I am in fact approving the audit from Dark Angelo and Company.
Okay. Do we
No,
have
I'll second that.
Pat? Okay. Now we've got approval of the budget for 2020 to 2021. Do we have a budget approval?
Is that 20 to 21?
I know, isn't that supposed to be the next
21, isn't it 21 to 22?
21 to, yeah.
It
Yes,
is.
21 to 22.
So please, I will correct the agenda, but please, Susanna, make note
I'm making
when
it.
you do it right. Thank you.
I
So
did know, I
20,
just fixed it.
21 to 2022, it seems like
Yeah.
the future,
Okay.
which it is the future. How
Mhm.
bad
So we
did I do the annual report wrong too? And that should be 2020. You know what I
Uh-huh.
did? I think I cut and pasted and then I didn't edit.
Okay, so we need approval of the budget for 21 to 22. Do we have a motion for approval?
Okay, I'll do that. I'll
And
do
I'll second.
Okay. Is there anyone who doesn't agree with that, doesn't want to approve it? No. Okay. And the next thing is the approval of the annual report for the 2020.
We just did that.
Okay, wait, we
Well,
did,
I thought that was
The-
the audit.
we did the
audit.
audit.
Then we
And
did
then we
the
did the
budget.
budget. And now we're on to the annual report,
The annual
which
report.
is the statistics. Did we get them all,
Right.
Susanna?
You've
So
lost.
we
I
didn't
thought the
approve.
first thing we did was approve the annual report.
No, that was the
No, we
I
audit.
thought it was the
report.
presentation from Chip Clark, correct?
That is the audit.
The audit report is what we
We have,
approved.
do we have to approve that?
I think we should. Why
Apparently.
not? It's a lot of money, right? I think, you know what it is? I think it's an acknowledgement of the fact that he presented
Yeah.
and you understood.
Okay.
I don't think you have to
We
approve it.
accepted it. We didn't
Okay.
disagree with it all. We accepted it, right?
There's a
Right,
section
right.
in the annual report that actually says when it was approved by the board.
No,
Okay.
the annual report we're gonna do later.
Oh,
The audit we're talking about. So right? Does, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't have to be.
No, I don't
Char,
think
do
you
you
have to
know?
approve I don't think you have to approve the audit,
Okay.
but you
I
have to
thought we
approve
did,
the,
but I could be
Somehow
wrong.
I did too.
I seem to remember
well,
that
it doesn't
we
matter.
we
Just
approved the audit last
Yeah.
year
Well,
as
it's
well.
like we're saying we accept it, that we
Yes.
Yes, you
aren't
accept it.
disagreeing.
Right.
Right.
Particularly because I know that we've had to actually do that because there were times in the past where there were, I think there were material defects that were mentioned in
Yeah.
some past reports, and the board has to actually vote that they're acknowledging the receipt of
Yeah.
those because there would have then been something that we would have had to do about those material defects as a board. There aren't any this time, but I don't think that
I think
changes the
there still
obligation.
are, but they don't seem to be terribly worried about them because we could do an actuary that will acknowledge how much the pension might cost us. But I
And
think
that has
But
been an issue
every
for the
year.
past several years because
That's
Forever.
been in
there's
there for a
never
long
any way to
time.
really figure that out.
Okay,
Yeah.
and the assets, I did have someone come in and they said, yeah, these are kind of cool pieces of furniture, but they're worth like furniture. So just use them. So none of the
Yeah.
antiques are just like, they're just cool
It's just
pieces.
stuff. It's
It's
not
stuff.
worth a lot of
It's
money.
stuff.
So
And if you want to put
They're
your
just
colored
old
pencils
stuff.
in the secretary, go ahead and
Yeah,
use the shelf
exactly.
on top of
They're
the
old
desk.
stuff, and if you really wanted to depreciate them, knock yourself out.
And he said, and this is ivory and you can't sell it. So I'm like, okay, so we'll just keep it. You know, like, so it was just, we have stuff, but we don't have stuff that's worth a fortune and we're not going to sell any of it until, you know, so it turns out to be, but the person who came said it was, he didn't go, oh my goodness, you better insure this or put it in a safety deposit box. I got none of that.
No.
So don't get too excited.
Well,
Okay. So with that said, I don't know. I mean, I don't mind if we just acknowledge, in all honesty, you're the board, and if it's supposed to be approved, it's your fault. I don't think I got in trouble.
We already did it, so we can't
Okay,
argue it.
good.
So
All right.
So,
And then you did the budget. Is that all recorded? All
Yes,
right.
we
Now
need,
we're moving on to the annual report. This is what we send in to New York State.
Right.
Char does a lot of this. It has the financials in it, which are we get from the audit. So
Right.
a lot of what
and there weren't a lot of changes in the basic information, at least from what I saw. There weren't any major changes.
in this,
Yeah.
in the one for New York State, we sent the only thing that Char sent today, and we didn't send it yet again because there were like two numbers that needed to be switched, and I'll fix it, right? I wanted to just point out some things. I did create this document, but of course it's on my desktop. I created it a long time ago. In 2012, I went along and told you how many programs, the program attendance, the library visits, circulation, reference questions, computer usage, website hits, and book sale. And I will send it to you. And but it's not shocking, you know, shall we say, because Char will tell you, I think we were closed for 17 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's gonna make a difference. And then we were open, but we weren't open for in-person programming. So we pretty much had half as many programs as we had the year before. But
I'm
if you
sure
think
everybody
about
did.
it seems not as bad, but our year starts and we always use October through September. So if you think about it, we were open from October to March.
Yeah.
So we did have some in-person programming. The thing is summer reading. The summer reading didn't happen and that's big. But we did have, you know, we still had 8,467 people come to some programming. We were able to, and it might change, but we used like Rosemary's programming that goes home. Christina has programming that goes home. And we counted that as part of our summer reading program. The state would argue maybe we're going to try to create that live component, things with a bit of a video, even if it's just a little bit of an infomercial, because you know how we try to make things, we set guidelines, and the guideline is set, it's a live program. Well, you know, nobody thought about a pandemic, right? Nobody thought about that. And kids in school, it's like, why are they on Zoom? Why can't they just sit and read a book and write in a journal? They get more out of it. Well, probably because there's the Board of Regents said X has to happen, and they have to be in a live teaching situation. And so we're still trying to fit what we're doing into old criteria, and it's just whatever it is. So anyway, with that said, I'm going to send you this document. There was a few things I highlighted in here. The electronic materials that we had, the total, we had 26,000 and some change last year. We have 57,000 this year because we've added, and you know, we've done that mid-York, we've done that. So our holdings went from 81,000 to 14,000 because we have so many ebooks and digital materials now that people have access to. So cool stuff, right? Those were the big ones that I wanted to highlight, and I will show you this as far as programming, you know, and we've talked about it over the last, you know, since March, what are we doing? And well, since we really opened, not really since March, that we have a lot of those make and takes, and we have been pushing things out through social media best we could, and we've reinvented ourselves, and some of that's in here. So I guess I could answer questions, but the financials are in here. The financials really aren't any, it's not, it's just the facts, right? It's just what happened. So it's a business document, but you have to approve it. And I did send it to you. And it's like, you know, it's your name and your address. It's our name and address. It's when our building was built. It's how much money we spent. And, you know, it's not that exciting.
What do you call this?
The annual
This is
report.
called the annual report. I call it, but it says the annual report for public and association libraries 2020. But so we call it, it's the annual report.
To the state, right?
To the state, to New York State. And then some of this data, so we send it to New York State, but then the federal government also will extract some of this data and put it in. So they use it, they do. I think they do use this information when it's necessary to figure out. But in it, even, I mean, there's even a COVID section. If you are going to be a statistician and you want to know about library programming in some from 2000 to 2030, you're going to say, yeah, let's throw out 2020 and 2021.
A lot of 2020.
Yeah, it's just like, it seems really goofy, but I'm
Can
pretty
you
sure.
say outlier?
Guys,
you can.
because I am totally lost.
Oh, sorry. It's C.
What
It's
was the
C in
first
here.
thing we approved?
The audit report.
Did
Which
we
is-
actually approve that?
Yes.
The audit report,
Yes.
okay. The second thing we approved was the 21-22 budget?
Right.
Correct.
That's the library operating budget.
Okay,
That would probably be a better way to say that.
and now we're doing the New York State Annual Report.
Right.
Correct. For 2020.
Yes.
Is 2019 on there?
Yes,
I
Got it.
will move to accept or approve the New York State annual report.
okay,
I will second that.
Thank you.
Okay.
I believe we wrote that it would be approved on the state in here. So
Right. Okay. Do we have announcements or communications?
No, I should have it though. We had someone buy us half moons because we're so wonderful. And there was another thank you note saying, you know, thank you for people appreciate, right? That what we're doing, and we're trying to make people feel welcome.
Right.
It's a tough time, and we're nice to people, and they're appreciative.
Absolutely. I know. No, just no public, no need. Does anyone feel we need an executive session?
Thank
No.
goodness, no.
Right. So
No,
we
things
need
are
a
going
motion.
well. They really are.
Yes, absolutely. Next meeting will be April
13,
13th,
yep.
right?
Write that on the agenda too.
Okay, April 13th is the next meeting.
Are
Hopefully,
we
there's-
gonna, I think they might extend open meeting law another time. But after that, we might actually be in the community room.
We'll
Yeah,
have
it
to
seems like-
reintroduce ourselves.
Pardon me, Sally?
I said we'll have to reintroduce ourselves.
Yeah.
I know, right? It'll be
Yeah,
weird.
absolutely.
But by then, I think that, everybody on the call would have opportunities, hopefully, to get.
Like I
Yeah.
said, let's just make it
Vaccination.
May.
Yes. Sounds good. All right, I'll see you next
Absolutely.
month.
I've had my
We
two
got a lot
shots.
done today.
We have to make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, right.
I'll make it.
Thank you, Pat.
And I will second it.
Okay. The meeting is adjourned at 6:56.
Wow, pretty
Okay,
good
great.
considering all that we had to do.
Yeah, because there was a lot.
Yeah.
Do you have checks that I need to come and sign, April?
Yes, they are
Okay.
on the desk in our office. So
Okay.
anytime, because I know Shar is going to go in on Thursday to do that.
Yes.
We have some.
Yes.
So
Okay.
anytime, just go. Yeah, no one needs to be there at a certain time because I think I'm going to do that DAC meeting from home. So neither of us will be there. Just go in and sign everything.
Okay, no problem.
Well, take care, everyone.
All
Let's
right,
see
yeah.
you,
Good night,
Everybody.
all.
see you next month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Enjoy the spring weather
Really?
tomorrow and the next day.
Right. Take
Have a
care.
good night, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you, Susanna. We're just a little too haphazard to stay concrete,
Sorry.
sequential,
good
linear,
job.
and all that. Keep us in
You did a
line.
good job.
I can't wait till we stop doing this virtual thing. I can't stand it.
Oh,
Yeah.
it has pluses and minuses for sure. I am looking forward to seeing some people though, for sure.
Yeah,
Because
it will be
it's
nice.
this, I don't know. I'm kind of getting used to the fact that they're videoing it. I don't even care anymore. It's like, okay.
Oh,
It's
no, I
on
don't care.
YouTube though. Yuck. Who's searching it really? I mean, you
No,
gotta really
really.
be bored if you're searching board meetings,
All right.
They should come and get a book if they're that bored.
right? Okay. See you
All right.
later.